Oh, you muted me. Never mind.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
Yeah. Yeah. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Since I was born, been stacking my coin. These niggas pop, my money keep growing.
Oh yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood. We get it in, baby. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
These rappers is whack, they lyrics are calm. I'm getting this money, it never get born. I'm loading my trap.
We haven't done a live stream like this one in a while, ladies and gents. I'm glad you are joining us. I got one of my favorite friends in the crypto space on with us tonight. We're going to be opening the lines as well. So I'll put the number up there and the code for you to join in the conversation tonight. Episode 86. Let's go.
Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash.
Smoking on that crippy got me cliff high. Steam pot, heat rock, slingshot. Surfing through the city while them chips rise. Hot boy, do it big time. Element with my summer bay, we booed up. Cali hit the bay, we fly MIA, we pulled up. Sipping on this drink, bitch, I know the way. We juiced up, nigga violate till it's JFK like your roof up. Coin daddy bout them chips, nigga, rap snacks. Face all in a box, nigga, Snapchat. Fucking with the ops to get you clapped back. No cap, nigga, rap.
Stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum.
Yeah, Jason, it's DJ Blood in the house, baby. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Yo, tonight we're going to be talking about a few things. One being El Salvador. More issues here, guys, with their bonds. S&P said they may be downgrading them in about 6 months. So we'll take a look at that and get Rice's opinion on that. Also, we've got Sleepy Joe. The attack on crypto is starting. I told you guys it would, and we are here. All right, they put out some mandates. We're going to go through those with Rice tonight and see what you guys feel about that too. Again, I will be opening the lines this evening. Hopefully it works. It's the first time doing it through StreamYard, so you guys got to bear with me. Make sure you guys hit those, smash those, spank those like booties. Let's go.
They lyrics are calm. I'm getting this money, it never get born. I'm loading my trap, they calling law. Fuck around on your clap for running your job. If it ain't about the dollars, then it don't make sense.
Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Okay. Ready?
Fucking thing sucks! We'll do it live.
Okay. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing it live. Got my man Rice in the building. RiceTVx. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, my friend?
How are you today, man?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
You got your sexy specs on today. No stunner shades.
No, I don't have my crazy
today, huh? Let me put my stunner shades on, though.
Hey, for the temporary time until we get somebody on, I can still hear that echo.
Yeah, I just turned it off, so
Okay.
we're good. We're good to go.
Thank you. It is so annoying hearing myself and echo as I'm trying to talk.
Yeah, no, I hear you. RiceTVx, guys, go check him out on Twitter. He's got almost 8,000 followers on Twitter. How many followers do you have on YouTube? I should have brought your YouTube channel up too.
A little over 30.
30,000 people.
About 30,500.
Following RiceTVx, man. He's doing this thing. A lot of
The social media stuff, I'm not very engaged and do a lot of. I just pretty much promote and chill my own stuff. So it just grows from, I guess, appearances on ATV and other things. They tell me I need to engage more, but I don't have the time for it.
I hear you, bro. I try my best, you know.
I mean, yeah, I do what I can when I
crawl.
can, but I can't sit there and spend my day doing it. I was talking to Frankie Candles about some of the things he does, and you know, between his Discord, social media, YouTube channel, I mean, he's like constantly on. And I can't do that, man. You know, I mean, when I first started my channel, I was a lot more engaging, but it's impossible.
It'll drive you nuts.
Yeah, as a one-man team, not having other people right now really, truly, fully help me, I can't. No, I can't. So there's things that suffer, but I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. I don't think anybody is losing sleep over me not tweeting or responding to their tweet or anything to that effect.
Yeah, it can become an unhealthy
Obsession.
behavior for you, obsession for you, absolutely, in my opinion. So again, tonight, guys, we will be talking about Sleepy Joe attacking cryptos. I touched on it this week on the My Two Satoshi videos. We'll also update you on the crypto insider trading case over at Coinbase. Are there going to be more? How far back will they go to prosecute people? Because this game is riddled with insider trading. You know that, Rice. So I'm just like, okay, if they go after this person, what and who is coming next? I want to talk to Rice also about the ETH-Merge, you know, to get some post-merge commentary from him on this. Does this ETH-Merge make it more susceptible to censorship? I talked about that earlier in the week as well. And also, this is Charles Hoskinson. He has some thoughts about this transition for Ethereum. I think, man, he's kind of just a hater. I don't know. How do you feel about Charles Hoskinson? He seems to like to comment on other blockchains other than working on his own. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I guess he has a right to say something because of his involvement with Ethereum in its early days and being a big proponent of Ethereum Classic, but it's competition. So he's gonna do what he can to try to make Cardano shine as much as possible, because right now, I mean, Ethereum is the king of the layer 1 blockchains, and I believe it will remain as such. And you're going to see all kinds of different publicity stunts. I mean, Tron's getting ready to start a huge nationwide campaign and stuff. I mean, they're going to be trying.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, apparently using their blockchain, a bunch of advertisements. I think Mainnet New York is happening. I saw Adam Charles taking a picture. Well, he took a picture at, I think it's Times Square, where there was a picture of Justin's son. Like, I almost want to think that Adam was kissing Justin, pretending like, and then taking a picture, so it looked like they were actually kissing. No, I'm just.
Yo, this is true, bro. When I found out Charles Hoskinson is only 34 years old, I said, wow, this guy's an old soul. And he knows a lot. Like, when I saw him speak over in Wyoming at the first independent conference, maybe a couple of years ago, I mean, this guy is so knowledgeable about so much.
If he's 34, though, life has been rough for him.
Why you say that?
Because he looks old as hell. I mean, dude, I'm 47. He looks older than me.
He looks older than you. Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I've taken pictures with him, and I definitely would think that he was older than me. He was born in 1987, 34. Wow. In Hawaii, too. So, wow. Fuck, man. Life was rough to him. I would have said
life
maybe.
Life ain't rough in Hawaii. What you talking about, man? Come on now.
Look at
Actually,
him.
it is.
He doesn't have a full head of hair.
Yeah.
Doesn't he live with his mom and dad still?
No, are you serious?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know he's like really close to this family. I think that they have like property near each other in another state. But yeah, no, I mean, I like Charles. I think he's a good dude. I just think that it really should have just been more of a congratulations, because I mean, it was a feat for the Ethereum merge. I mean, like the whole idea of a lot of people kind of compared it to changing your engine while you're driving down a highway like 100 miles an hour. Right. And they were successful. Now, I mean, whether there's going to be any bugs or anything creeping up, any exploits, I mean, that's a whole other thing. But as of now, it looks like the merge was a successful event.
Yeah, it definitely was a success in my book as well. Let me see if I can get this chat room up in my window really quickly before we move any further, so I can see what's going on. So what's your let me see. I got to do a refresh. what's your take on? So we're talking about Ethereum. I guess we can go ahead and just start the conversation there in regards to Ethereum and the merge. Before I do that, I actually want to do a quick CTA, call to action. Look, guys, you want to join in on the conversation tonight. I'm trying it. Not sure if it's going to work properly, but I'm definitely going to try to open the lines up. 669-900-6833, and then you have to enter that code you see there, 851-716-5240, if you want to call in.
Let me ask you a question, man.
Chad.
Why wouldn't you just post the StreamYard link in the video description and have people join?
I don't want to see ugly people's faces. All these ugly people around here on this internet. I want to keep this a handsome face session.
You brought my ugly ass on here.
Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Look, make sure you guys, you know what time it is. You got to smack those like booties. Hit them off the stage for a brother real quick. We got 29 people in the building. So please do that for the algo and for
nice
CBTV
video.
And Rice. Yeah, that's my little thing there.
That
So let's talk about this Ethereum situation. So the merge occurred, right? How do you feel about Ethereum now? There's a lot of talks about it being more centralized and the risk of censorship increasing. This is from a former FBI analyst. Not saying that gives you any more credit there or credence, but what's your take on what he's saying in this article? I talked about it during the week My Two Satoshi episode. What's your take though?
I mean, obviously, I think that we've learned in our time in cryptocurrency that when you're dealing with staked coins, the person, people with more money are going to be able to stake more, and that's kind of, but the thing is, it's only 32 coins, I think, is the max stake amount. I mean, you can run multiple different nodes, I guess, if you wanted to.
Yeah, if you had more than 30, if you had like 64,
you can run 2
coins, you can run 2.
Right. Which is, I think, is kind of an even playing field in that sense. I don't see the centralization coming into play necessarily. But it's going to be really interesting to see how things move forward with regulation. Because it seems as if, if you look at Ethereum when it first started out, compared to the ideology, even some of the things that Vitalik was talking about, he was very much against the banking system. But as time has went on, he's kind of started to work more with the banking system. He's actually come out in the past and just said it's not necessarily all bad people in banking, that there are definitely good people in banking. You can't just take and put down the entire banking industry because of a stigma or whatever the situation might be, that there are good people. So, the whole ideology has changed. And for Ethereum to remain successful, they're going to have to play ball. And being that they have the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance and a lot of the organizations and businesses and corporations that are involved in that are already involved in the legacy financial system that already follows regulation. So I really feel like Ethereum will be the cryptocurrency that kind of plays ball.
I guess my question to you would be kind of the highlighting stat about 64% of all staked ETH are currently owned by 5 companies. And what's even more astounding is that Lido Finance, it has 31% of supply or staked ETH.
They're running pools, right?
No, this is not a pool. This is literally just Lido Finance, I believe.
So they would have that many multiple nodes at 32? Because I didn't even know that you could currently stake right now. Or if you started a staking process, you wouldn't even be able to unlock until after a certain date. So I really didn't put a lot
the unlock part. I'm not sure about
like
the
6 to 9
ins and outs
or something, but it's a little bit of time after the merge.
Yeah, it's an upgrade called Shanghai, I think. And it is not even promised that you'll get your tokens unlocked then. It's just they're just saying that possibly will be the time period where you can move your tokens. So there may be some type of you think there may be a sell-off at that token release or unlocking?
It really depends
phase?
on where we are in the market. I think it really just depends on where we are in the market phase. So I mean, it had to be looking at all the specifics as like when is the release? Is there already like a specific date? I mean, it would have to be looking at the geopolitical situations of everything that's kind of going on, because anything can change a situation right now day to day. And I think you realize that there's so many different factors.
HP blockchain is saying Lido is a DAO.
And it may be. I haven't researched Lido. I haven't researched much about it. If it is a DAO, that's cool. But so, I mean, how are they determining? How can these entities have this much staked ETH if you're only allowed to have 32 per node?
Because they're having more than one node.
And at the same time, I mean, it isn't exactly, someone mentioned here about price of ETH. Now, this isn't, even now, like even if ETH goes down sub $1,000, let's just say $1,000, that's still $32,000. Like,
at current pricing. Yeah, at current pricing, we're talking about 47,000.
Right. Not many people have the entry point to be able to get involved with something like that.
So that's the question I'm posing to everyone in the audience and to you, Rice. Like, does that pretty much make it a good old boys club all over again? Is it Wall Street all over again, but with blockchain?
Wall Street's already here, man.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and this is like a big part of it. I mean, we want it, like, we want futures trading, ETFs, and things like that, and that all consists of the legacy financial system in Wall Street. So we invited them in, they're here, and we just got to deal with it. That's all. Yeah,
HP definitely post a link to Lido, and I can pull their site up. Lido, however you pronounce it. I'm calling Ethereum Laderium now because they pretty much own a big chunk of it.
I've been keeping up with like more of the major things that have been happening, not all the nuances in crypto, just because I've been trying to pay attention to all these other things happening on a global scale around the world, because there's so much going on, and we're in a bear market. So I just haven't been as devoted to keeping up with every nuance of what's going on with crypto. I've been keeping up with the big stories, and I still have a lot to say about the news, but we're in a bear market, you know what I mean? And we're going to be in quite some time. And really honestly, I mean, I do own Ethereum. Ethereum is too big to fail, but I don't follow everything that Ethereum does. Yeah, I'm more focused.
Me either.
If I was to do anything within the Ethereum ecosystem, it would be focusing more on layer 2 solutions, like Polygon and things to that effect.
So what do you think about layer 2s? If the ultimate goal, we talked about this, I think maybe on around the blockchain, if the ultimate goal is for Ethereum to scale at the base layer, what's the point for a layer 2
I just don't feel
scalability
like,
system?
because I don't feel like the base layer is going to be able to handle everything. So having these second layer solutions just relieve stress from the network so that the main layer could be used for other specific purposes, and then integrate things in from the layer 2s. That way it doesn't cause as much issues with the blockchain, because the congestion is one of the things that we're going to be having problems with as more and more people enter the space.
Yeah. Kenton Smith said Fed, government, and traditional banks have been working at making crypto centralized. I think we can both agree to that, right? For sure.
Well, even crypto has been working on making cryptocurrency centralized. I mean, look at the Lightning Network.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. You and I are both not fans of the Lightning Network.
But it started with the crypto community. It started with a bunch of Bitcoin maximalists, and then the banking and cartel organizations got involved.
Yeah,
you know, and I've been saying for quite some time that the Lightning Network, as much as it could be beneficial, it's just there's a lot of traps in it. I mean, aside from the centralization, I really feel like the money transmitter license thing will come into play at some point sooner than later.
So the FBI agent or former analyst said, essentially, with it being such a huge concentration of the staked ETH being with like 5 companies, you're going to see a situation where he's saying either you will comply or you'll be siphoned off that sort of interaction, or you run the risk of being fined, being scrutinized, or potentially even being sanctioned yourself. So he's talking about the government coming after these entities and just basically saying, hey, that's a single point of failure, a single point of attack vector that they can just come after those 5 companies and say either you get down or you lay down.
Well, I mean, being that it's just done, and I'm not sure that there's that, you know, we can individually stake. I'm not sure how this whole 32 ETH and staking is going to work on an individual basis. I didn't think it was available for us to do right this very moment. That's why they were using like a wrapped ETH or an ETH-S. I don't know what they were calling it, but there was a name for what people were doing to stake. But it wasn't actually through Ethereum, so I got really confused as to actually what was going on.
Yeah, now that they're on proof of stake fully, now all the transactions are running through stakers.
Right.
It literally are no more miners. So the 32 ETH is a real and live thing now where you're able to process transactions.
There's the Lido link.
I didn't see it. Oh, you
sent it to you in a private chat. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it says a community that builds liquid staking services and governs the direction of Lido. The number of DAO participants is growing daily. Stake ETH. What is LDO? LDO is an Ethereum token granting governance. So, yeah, it's a DAO. Yeah. But I mean, I think DAOs are also how decentralized is this DAO?
Exactly.
It's like a DAO is just like almost like a cover up. I think
it's another buzzword to me.
Yeah, I'm not saying that everything that calls itself a DAO truly fully acts as a DAO.
Yeah. Colin Ward said, "What do you guys think about the increase in the Fed balance sheet roll off is going to have on the S&P, possibly up to $95 billion of maturity?" Man, this he just asked a question all way off in left field. But thank you, Colin. Yeah. I appreciate it. I mean, we can talk about that a little bit. It's a very good question. Very good question. You want to take that first?
I really have no fucking clue what the Federal Reserve is going to do. One part of me thinks that next week they're going to do less of a rate hike than we're expecting. Then the other part of me thinks they're going to go a lot further, which would be a full basis point. We're already expecting 75 basis point rate hike. So the thing is, I mean, like our debt to GDP ratio is insane. And the higher that we have interest rates in our current economic climate, it's going to put a situation where there's going to be a lot of insolvency, and it could actually put as crazy as it sounds, put the position of the government to have to default on its own debt. Because it was something. I'm going to read this because I wrote it down. I was asking a couple different people in different interviews their thoughts. Mm-hmm. Like Lynette Zhang was one that I asked. Who was the other? It might have been Gareth Soloway. It might have been. Well, I know you had on recently, but it was Nick Carter who was on, and not Nick Carter from NSYNC for all your NSYNC fans that watch the show, but Nick Carter was on Anthony Pompliano's show. And he said that the Fed is in a tight spot, that the Feds can't raise interest rates to whip inflation without bankrupting everything. That there's so much sovereign and corporate debt that raising the rates too high would cause people to quickly become insolvent. Mentioned that like late 70s era when Volcker raised the rates 20%, that was feasible at that time. But now if we were to raise the interest rates 5%, that the government would default on its debt. I've been hearing a lot of other economists saying that in order for the Fed to truly fight inflation, they need to raise the interest rates above the inflation rate.
Right.
Which we're nowhere near that.
We're nowhere near, and we probably won't ever get there.
Right. So it's almost as if I don't even know what the hell they're doing. So
it's optics. It's just optics.
If we raise rates 5% now, the government would default on its debt. The debt to GDP is 120 now, as opposed to the 30 in the 70s. And the deficit is around 7% this year, as opposed to the 2 to 3% back in that time period under Volcker. So he's looking for the Fed to have to reverse course in Q4 by the end of the year. We got midterm elections coming up. it's a funny area, man. I mean, the Fed's trying to act like they're going to be doing something tough, but if they were really going to do something tough and they're really going to bring the pain, then they would bring the interest rates up several basis points, full basis points, like
yeah, 1,000 basis points.
Well,
right?
that's one. 1,000 basis points would be what? Because that shit really
That's
confuses me when we
10%.
talk about, which would be above the inflation rate.
Right.
And
they need to. I mean, they need to do like literally 300-400 basis points a hike.
Though, in and of itself, would crash the stock market.
Yeah.
Those interest rates.
Yeah, absolutely, it would. Absolutely,
and
would.
Then if and this is the question that I ask everybody, because I say the same thing. If they continue this course of the deflationary aspects and they raise the interest rates, then they will eventually get to a point sooner than later where they crash the stock market because of the deflation. And then if they reverse course and they start doing the quantitative easing again versus the quantitative tightening, they're going to inflate the market to the point that it crashes.
So that's what I was going to talk to as far as Column's question. He's basically asking about quantitative tightening and what effect it's going to have on the S&P. And I mean, it's going to have a bad effect. If you remember, Column, back in 2019 or 18, I think they started the quantitative tightening. The first time they did it, they tightened all the way up until, I believe, September of 19. And that's when the repo markets went crazy. Like that was going to be the next crisis. And then just so happened, and so conveniently, we had this pandemic.
But the Fed, before that though,
which is like the timing, bro.
The Fed had stepped in at like the end of 2019 with the repo market.
Yeah,
central banks. So they stepped in because of that crisis. Just like in March of 2020, when Bitcoin went down to like the 3K range, the actual stock markets, they had to halt trading several times during March of 2020 because it was going to crash the entire system, which happened in 2008. It's like they're just
it's just either Rice, either we live in a goddamn simulation, or they're pretty good at timing this stuff. Because come on now, like we were literally about to have a Lehman Brothers moment in September of 2019. Repo markets were done,
right?
And that's the structure of the whole banking system. That's the plumbing of the whole system. I didn't know much about it until it started going haywire, and I had to learn a lot about it, you know. But
what do you know about BlackRock's Aladdin?
I don't know much about that.
BlackRock has this AI trading bot, whatever. It's more than a bot, and it's more than just like simple AI. And they're trading. The way that they do trading, it executes, I think, somewhere around like 250,000 trades per year or per day. It's able to make weekly assessments and predictions, yearly analysis. It's in charge of, and you can look this stuff up, man. I'll send you a video, but it's right now in charge of $21 trillion globally. Internationally, it's more than, and that's more than a GDP of the United States. It's more than a GDP of Europe. And they're involved in cryptocurrency. And BlackRock's actually gotten access recently to data companies, so like big data, like our information. So then to me, that artificial intelligence can add in sentiment. And it directs the Federal Reserve. The Federal, like, it's doing trading for the Federal Reserve. It's doing trading for Wall Street. It's like half of the derivatives trading in the world. It's insane what this thing controls, man. I just
never
found
heard
out
of
about
it.
I know. I just found out about this a few months ago, and I'm like, why did I not know about this? Because, and when you have something like this that is a computer program that can foresee and predict things, it's real easy to guess when you have this much money controlling a market, and then you have it linked to the central banks. It's real easy for them to be able to figure out what is going to happen, because they can actually say what they want to happen in advance and make it happen. And it could be a supercomputer. I mean, this thing was built in the 80s, and it was actually the United States that during the 2008 financial crash, like, we brought Aladdin into the system. And I think a lot of our quantitative easing, where the Federal Reserve was getting overstepping its normal boundaries was because of utilizing Aladdin via BlackRock. And then we got to also think about this being in crypto. You know, a lot of people were celebrating, and I'm not saying ultimately it wouldn't be good for crypto, but in order for these legacy financial systems that can now get involved in Bitcoin via BlackRock, which is between BlackRock and Vanguard, the two biggest entities on this planet, I mean, they're going to bring the price of crypto down before they get in. So we got a lot further to go, and I know you know that, Cryptodamus.
Absolutely, we do have a ways to go. I'm just looking at this article, man.
It's mind fucking blowing, dude.
Why haven't I known about this?
It's been crazy. I mean, and it's not like they don't mention it. I guess it's just, you know who controls the media, so it gets brought up, but it doesn't get like
you said, it was founded in 1988.
Yeah. And it's
this
been
system
growing.
Was founded
it's just been growing and growing and growing.
In 2000, Aladdin was introduced as a system for investment management user. The software works with thousands of computers.
And your buddy Larry Fink, your homie, he's the one that's behind
Larry
this.
Fink. Yeah, he's CEO of BlackRock, I think. Still, right? He's supposed to be stepping down though, right? Soon. I thought.
I mean, he may be,
back
but
or something.
I don't know the logistics. I mean, the thing is, it's one of those entities that you're not really even sure really who's involved. You're not really sure who owns Vanguard or BlackRock, and BlackRock takes a lot of like retirement money and plays with that in a way that allows for them to get positions on different boards, different corporations like Twitter, Facebook, or Meta now.
Yeah, I've never heard of this, man. It sounds like a platform almost like Bloomberg Terminal, but maybe BlackRock's version of it. But
this is on steroids, dude.
But it's on steroids now with the AI.
21 trillion. Like, who would put that in the responsibility of something like that if it wasn't?
That should be that's so big, Rice, that should fall under antitrust laws. Like, it's too big.
It is, but again,
you get what I'm saying?
It's controlling the movement of the Federal Reserve. So it's now made itself. And the Skynet thing, what's really interesting is there is a company in China that's part of the social credit score system that does a lot of surveillance type things regarding artificial intelligence and all that good fun stuff that we love. And they did name their company Skynet.
Yeah, that's crazy. So just to sum up your question, because it is a good question. It's kind of off on a tangent, but I like it.
Mm-hmm. We have a complete crazy inversion in the entire treasury bonds.
Yes.
All the way around.
People look
at the 2s and 10s, but if you look at everything else, 30s, even down smaller, there was a George Gammon video that came out a couple months ago where they were, because the Federal Reserve was like trying to come out and say, well, you can't look at the 2 and 10 year. And so they were looking at all the different variations, I think down to like a 6 month. I think there's like 6 and 3 month as well.
In 1 month. Those are like considered T-bills. Well, they're just get that short of a term.
They're still just complete inversions in the entirety of the entire thing. So the Federal Reserve is trying to manipulate things to try to keep control of what's happening in the treasury bond market. I don't know if it's changed since then, but it's 3 times so far the 2 and the 10 have inverted this year. And then we have the government coming out and trying to change the definition of a word recession, but yeah, we have this inverted yield curve that's an indicator.
And they updated on Wiki too, by the way.
And it just slaps you. Well, if the last update I saw was that some governments say this is the definition or something. I'm paraphrasing it, of course, but I have to look that up.
Yeah, it's crazy. But Colin, I think that to your question, it sets up an environment for all risk on assets to head significantly lower. Now, in the short term, next week or so, you may see a bounce here, a bounce there, but if you're zooming out 6 months, 12 months, man, I think we head lower. So that's why I'm overall bearish on cryptos. Like it or love it. Jason Lynn said, what's the difference between a mixer like Tornado Cash and Lightning Network?
Well, a mixer,
these questions are all over the place.
Yeah, a mixer would take your coins, and it's like you take a bunch of different coins and put them in a pot, and you shuffle them all up, and then you redistribute the coins back to the original, to the owners, but they don't get the original coin back. So that way, all the history that is associated with that coin doesn't necessarily follow with what you're doing. That's where some people with the government agencies want to say it was money laundering. With Lightning Network, there's no shuffling around of coins. It's just payments that are micro payments that are batched into a bigger payment, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Did I explain that right?
Yeah, that's pretty on point.
But a shuffler now, and that's kind of like that argument, I guess, now is like fungibility is the whole point of having a mixer or a shuffler.
Yes.
And we don't have,
because inherently Bitcoin is not fungible.
Bitcoin is
Ethereum is not fungible.
So they're not, they're all NFTs inherently.
I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, they're not fungible.
Well, they're pseudo fungible. Like, there is a way for you to, like with the dollar, it would be even harder. A physical dollar is harder for you to differentiate the two. I mean, down to the only thing, maybe the serial number, maybe.
The money in my pocket or the Bitcoin in your wallet would be the same as the money in my pocket or the Bitcoin in my wallet. And that's not the same because of the history of the transactions of the Bitcoin.
Exactly. They can color the coins or taint the coins and make it essentially not fungible.
Taint that the truth.
So, question Dr. Moto poses: NWO winning? Too many sheep? Question mark. I think so, man. I hate to sound like I'm the pessimistic person in this crowd.
You're a realist.
I think so. I think I'm a realist. I just think we're so dumb collectively. We've been so dumbed down. We've been so inundated or sedated, maybe I should say, with sports and entertainment and all this stuff and social media that we don't even know and don't care to know. We don't know what we don't know.
It's distractions and it dumbs us down at the same time. Which is insane. It's like a double whammy. You know what I mean? It's very similar to like what the Colosseum was back in Roman times.
Exactly. So the thing, I have a question for you, Rice, kind of piggybacking off of this. So crypto, is it going to be that savior? Is it Jesus Christ in the Technicolor raincoat, whatever?
Jesus Christ and the Bitcoin core developers.
Yeah, because you are very I don't know if you consider yourself an anarchist.
I'm trying to get rid of labels, but
but a lot of ideology out of that.
It resonates with me, but at the same time, so the word though means no ruler, no master, and I don't. And basically self-governing. I don't feel as if the rest of the world is ready for that ideology now, but planting seeds to get us to that point, because we got to start really treating people how we want to be treated to be getting to a point of self-governing. You know, when we have self-governing capabilities, we don't need things like law enforcement and courts and things like that, because you would really truly treat your brother and your sister how you would want to be treated.
Yeah, but is that kind of wishful thinking?
For the future, yeah,
100%.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we need to put out those positive kind of things. We need to speak those things into existence. We need to help manifest those things, and the more of us that I think to do that now. But at the same time, I think that we've got a lot worse to go as far as everything that we're dealing with in the world. It's like, if you look at everything that's happening between wars, possibilities of food shortages, railroad strikes, division in the government, all the different things.
I should have brought that up
we just have so much strikes. We just have so much further to go for, like, before we hit the bottom, and there's going to be a lot of crazy shit going on between now and then. So, I mean, when it comes to looking at everything that's going on, is starting to get a little bit overwhelming, because there's so much shit going on. and they just keep stacking it on. Like when I heard about this railroad strike thing, it was like, oh, we need to add this now to the equation. Like everything else wasn't bad enough before. Now some people need to decide that they're just going to go on strike and just screw up things just that much more. You know, it's like what, you know, I was talking to just a couple different economists, and it's like, as far as like what is going to break the system, if you think about it from the analogy of the straw breaking a camel's back, look at all the pressure that is being put on this camel. And shout out to B Chad for mentioning the fourth turning. If you're not familiar with this blood, I got the book, I'm reading it. It's really interesting. It's very intriguing, especially when you look at what's going on today and how these events in history are kind of cyclical through cycles. That's kind of what the fourth turning book is about. It's about a generational theory about these different turnings that happen with different archetypes of different generations, and how that each turning are really similar to previous turnings, and every fourth turning ends up in some sort of war, civil war type scenario situation, and it really escalates to kind of where we're at. It's a really good book. I can send you some links to some videos where you can actually, George Gammon did a really good interview and a breakdown of the fourth turning if you just want to like search George Gammon and fourth turning. But then Tony Robbins had him on his did a seminar with him talking about this book because of the importance of what this book represents based off of past historical knowledge that shows this. And if you look at the fourth turnings, you can, there's a website, I think thefourthturning.com, but like the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, different time periods have matched up the fourth turnings. I don't have all the specific information. I'm still reading the book. I've kind of started reading some of the beginning of it, and then I wanted to kind of get more of an idea of what the fourth turning was specifically. So I started fast forwarding through the book and going into the fourth turning information. And now I'm at the prophecy about a fourth turning prophecy, which I guess is where they're kind of speculating on events that could take place that would lead us into this event. And it's very fascinating. And you actually have a lot of people that are known for being wealthy, that have like YouTube channels or involved in economics or these type of like valuetainment type conversations.
I like Patrick Beck.
Everybody mentions this book.
Yeah, they do. I've heard about it, but never read it. Definitely heard about it.
It's about generational studies.
Yeah, the William Strauss guy is the person I always hear about.
Now he's passed away. Neil Howe's still alive, so he does.
Okay.
He doesn't, and I've been actually trying to reach out to him to try to get him on the show myself. I feel like I'm a small fish in the pond now. Red
River said that he's not worried about the railroad strike because I didn't know this happened in 1991, but it lasted a day before Congress said you can't do that. So, what do you think about that? You think that?
I mean, people can always say no.
The strike.
No,
the strikers.
No, because that's kind of what I was leading up to. Is I feel like we're getting to a point where when stuff starts to get worse, people will start losing their faith in their governments and their banking institutions and their central banks, and they'll be looking for alternatives. I would
say we're on the precipice of losing faith in our government for sure. Just seeing whether or not you meaning people watching, believe that there was a some fuckery going on with the voting in the last election or not.
Be careful with that because you can get your channel in trouble with that.
Yeah, whether you believe that or not.
I call it erection frogs.
Yeah, erection frogs. I think a lot of people lost faith.
Yeah, but you know, it's crazy because that's been escalating. I mean, there's been a lot of attention put on that issue because of the last election. But if you remember the election between, I think it was Bush and Gore.
Yeah, with the whole off the coast of Florida, what do they call it?
I forgot what they called it.
The floating, yeah.
But forgot what they're called. And then the who was the governor of Florida at the time?
Yeah, he almost went to jail or
well,
something.
The governor of Florida during that time was Jeb Bush, George Bush's brother.
Yes, that's it.
And it looked like by voting that Al Gore won. and then something happened in Florida, and the vote got overturned, and Bush won. So I think we've had a lot of issues with that system for quite some time. I just think that the last election period was a culmination of it, because I mean, nobody brought up the attention, like what happened with Mr. T and that whole situation hasn't happened with a previous president. You didn't see when Gore lost, he didn't go and do any of the stuff that you see Mr. T going out doing. He didn't do rallies and get the people up. No, I won this motherfucker.
And you didn't, but you also never seen raids on certain places of previous Ps either.
But I mean, also you got to look at the speech that Biden gave about certain political groups and extremists within those groups. I got to be careful with this area of conversation too.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the really crazy thing with the inflation infrastructure bill that people, it's just a code word to be careful. But with the inflation infrastructure bill that took place, when it went through Senate, our Senate is 100 senators, two senators for each state, and it's 50-50 with Republicans and Democrats currently, and the vote was 50-50. It was the Senate Majority Leader, our Vice President, Kamala Harris, that was able to give the tie-breaking vote to have it pass through to get signed by the president. That's the alarming thing that we need to pay attention to, is that divide. Because we don't see politics being that divided, where to the point where people aren't caring about the issues, they're caring about their party. And then they're weaponizing the parties and the issues against the people.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane, dude.
Do you think Mr. T is going to run?
I would love to, because I support people with mohawks.
Yeah.
Although I did get rid of mine. I haven't really told you that, but I got rid of mine.
I can't. Oh, you have. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What's that about? What was that all about?
I had it for so long, man. I really wanted to.
You lost a bet? Did you lose a bet?
Didn't lose a bet. It was all just me. Because also too, like, I don't want to be tied to like anything in particular.
Neo-Nazi.
I just don't want to be like, people assume that I have to have a mohawk. Like, it's not like, I don't want to have like a shtick, a spiel, any of that kind of stuff. Like, that's why, like, even I've rebranded and changed my channel. I'm like a chameleon. I just want to change up. I don't want people to, I don't want to like get stuck in something and be that dude. Like, I don't want to be Mr. T one day. That dude's had to keep that haircut. If he was to not have that haircut, he would not be Mr. T. He could shave his head, he could grow an afro, and people would not look at him the same way.
You don't want to typecast yourself.
Yeah, so
basically, right?
I mean, it still looks the same from the front, but yeah.
It does. Yeah, it does.
You really can't tell. And people didn't know before unless I emphasized it.
Yeah. Man, you're still a racist, man. I'm still
a racist. You're a racist too.
Yeah, I know.
We're all racist.
So, I wanna talk about Kwon. This is interesting, man. He's wanted. They want him over in not Singapore, but South Korea. He's in Singapore allegedly.
Yeah. So the big question, that really ultimately what it comes down to is like, I didn't read this specific article, but are they trying to get it to a situation where Singapore will extradite him?
Yeah.
Or if he tries to leave the country, he will be held?
Yes. They're going to expedite the process in voiding his passport. So at that very point, when your passport is voided in Singapore, you have to go back to your country of origin. Or you're now like legally you're doing something.
The whole situation around everything that he did from the point that Terra Luna crashed, and from the speculation of things, of information that came out a few weeks before the crash, he seems like a really shady guy. So when you cause this much pain to individuals, and in a sense defraud them, because that's what I really feel as if happened. I don't feel like this was just like an accident gone wrong.
Oh, you don't think it was just like
a mistake?
Hubris? Yeah, you don't think it was just...
No, it may have started out originally with that intent But I think what the company ended up like closing up office. There were several different things that had happened a few weeks before the Terra Luna crash that kind of indicated that they knew what was going on. Now, when he was like talking about buying Bitcoin and having that back up his stable coin,
that was the most idiotic thing I ever heard in my life.
It was, but
how do you have a stable coin back something that's the most volatile asset out there?
Yeah, no, I mean, because it would have been asked backwards, but if I was to have done it successfully and suggested to him, it would have been gold, you know. But
yeah, something less volatile, right?
It would have made sense. I mean, there are gold-backed tokens, but I mean, what he did gave him a lot of brownie points with the crypto community, because most people in the crypto community don't do the research and have no fucking clue about how this whole shit works, and they're just in it for
no clue about monetary.
They're just in it for more dollar bills, more US dollars that are just losing value over time. That's all they're doing. So they don't care about the change that this technology can bring. I mean, I have faith that there will be a great deal of people that will start coming to cryptocurrency as they're losing more faith. I mean, the average American and even people that are...
But will it be too late by then?
I don't know, dude. No, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think that
in control, in the government control, in the government's hand by then. And you've got to basically take the mark of the beast to enter the crypto space, so they can track you all the way.
You know, I'll be careful with this, but they would have to get rid of the 2A before that would even be a possibility. So, I mean, that would have to be that would be breaking down our Constitution in front of people's eyes. So that'll be interesting, because I think the 2A is the one thing that holds a lot of shit at bay. I mean, we have the largest unorganized army technically in the world. It's very unorganized, but we have the largest. We have the most firearms of any nation.
Yeah, and if you go down the rabbit hole, which I've been revisiting as of the last 2 weeks,
most of those gun owners are not fans of CBDCs. So if Biden's executive order 14067 has some really crazy shit in there that has to do with CBDCs that could point us into like a social credit score system. I don't think the majority of Americans are going to go for that. And then the ones that do, then you're going to have a situation of disagreements that could result in pew pew pew.
Again, let's take a moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Areas.
Smash those like booties, ladies and gents. We got 46 people in the building right now. Let's get those thumbs up. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. So back to the Terra Luna thing. Like, do you think he's going to go to jail? Essentially, I mean, he's going to have to go back to South Korea. So you think he's going to go to jail? I
believe so.
I do.
How much time he gets, I don't know. Will it be good for crypto? It won't matter. But I mean, they'll use these kind of situations to try to talk negatively about cryptocurrency. I mean, you don't hear about the good things that are being done. You're hearing about the bad things. I mean, like when they talk about the proof of work argument and Bitcoin, they don't talk about how there's a lot of different mining companies that are trying to use renewable and reusable energies, take flare gas and use things that are positive for our environment. They don't actually, look at the actual chart information about how much energy the entire banking system uses between their ATMs, their vehicles that carry money around, all the different electronics that are involved in each different bank. And how many banks do you see every time you drive around? And gold, I mean, as much as I love gold and silver, gold is not too far behind as far as like the energy output. People don't focus on the good things; they focus on the bad things. So he will get arrested, and they're going to use it as a way to crucify cryptocurrency. Usher in your beautiful CBDCs. That me and
Shout out to my UK man. For some reason, bro, I have so many UK followers that I'm contemplating doing a meetup in the UK, man. I think
it's just so fine and proper.
Yeah, no, I'm 17% British too.
You're proper. So, well, maybe that's it. I mean, dude, you're like a connoisseur of all good fine things, including ice cream.
Yeah. Shout out to Amina. I talked to her when I was in Kansas City. She brings that up everywhere.
I know.
Bro.
I know. I think ice cream would get any dude laid, especially that ice
It
cream.
might. It might.
Let
It
me
might.
feed you
I got
some
a
of
new
this.
spot for her. I told her about. I said next time we're in Miami, I got another spot for you. She's like, blood, no, eh? You know that Canadian accent. I got a new spot, bro. Are you going down to Miami in December, late November for
Yeah.
all the stuff that's going on? Okay, cool. So,
I mean, I
we'll
don't know.
definitely
Yeah,
hang
I'll
out.
coordinate with you. I don't know if I'm staying like a week for Art Basel week, but I'm going to come out for Decentral, and I'm actually going to be, and I'm hoping that you will too. I'm going to be in Vegas next month for the Litecoin Summit and Coin Agenda.
What? That's October. Okay.
October 21st through 23rd, that
Okay.
time period. That
I'm
Friday,
waiting
Saturday,
to
Sunday.
see about possibly going to Texas in October. Don't know which date, but if not, then I'm there. I'm coming out.
I
for
thought
sure.
Vegas was your second home, and I thought
No.
Litecoin. I thought Litecoin was like your favorite.
Litecoin is the best coin. That's what I heard.
I mean, wasn't it?
Litecoin is the right coin. I'm sorry.
Wasn't it
I
your
don't
first altcoin you bought?
It's my. Well, it was. I've had this conversation. It was the first altcoin.
Not the first cryptocurrency. You bought Bitcoin first.
I know, but it was the first
Right.
altcoin.
Yeah, me
right?
too. Yeah,
It
Yeah.
was the first altcoin.
yeah. I bought Bitcoin and then I bought Litecoin.
Yeah, I bought Bitcoin. Then I started mining Litecoin at 55 cents, ladies and gentlemen. So let's lick a shot.
When are you gonna get a
Shot for that.
cowboy hat?
Never.
You should totally rock the cowboy hat. I think that would just a red
Never.
red suede
A
cowboy.
red suede cowboy hat. No, I don't want to look too closely related to those Wild West crypto shams.
That's what you're going down to Texas for, though, isn't it?
No, I ain't going to meet with them.
Aren't you supposed to be the third member for their reverse,
Not at
for
all.
their reverse Oreo crypto show?
Man. Yeah, but I'm going to try to get out there to Nevada for Litecoin Summit. I had a great time.
Crypto Nano's in the house.
I see her. Absolutely. Litecoin is the right coin. But I remember in 17 we met out in San Fran for the Litecoin Summit. That was the
Not me
first
and you.
time. Huh?
The first time we met was 2018 at World CryptoCon, the very first World CryptoCon. That was the very first time we met.
So then in 18 there was the Litecoin Summit in San Fran later that year, right?
I didn't go to that. The
didn't?
first Litecoin Summit I went to was the only one I went to was in 2019 in Vegas. That was the Vegas Blockchain Week, which was the second year of World CryptoCon, and also
Could've
Coin
swore you were
Agenda.
out there in San Fran for
No,
that.
a few
No, you
people
weren't.
Well, maybe there was a clone of me there. Or something.
No,
A few
you weren't.
people, A few people have brought that up though. I interviewed AKA Action, this rapper guy, a friend of mine. You might know him. You might on social media. I don't know, but he has the same recollection. A couple people have the same recollection of meeting me in 2017. I didn't go to any crypto conferences. Actually, I did go to something here in Winston-Salem that was more like a little like. I wouldn't even call it a conference, but they were trying to call it a conference. Once I started going to conferences, I realized it was just kind of like a meetup that was a little long. That's really all it kind of was.
Well,
So, yeah,
maybe it's just what we call a Mandela effect.
it could be.
Ha ha ha.
I think I know where I was though in that time period of 2017. So I know I was.
Is it Looney Tunes or is it Looney Tunes, ladies and gentlemen? Huh?
Oh, go back. What is it? What?
Yeah.
Well, hold on. What's the difference there? Oh, let's see.
TOONSTUNES.
It's always been O's.
No, Looney Tunes, not TOON.
Why
It's
would
not.
it be? It's not music. It's a cartoon. So it makes no sense that it would be a tune with a.
It almost makes 0 sense, but yes, the cartoon was spelled TUNES.
Because even I say you're tuning in, like on my show, I'll be like you're tuning in, and I chose tuning in specifically because it's like it reminds me of like when you're listening to a radio station and you're tuning into WKRP in Cincinnati, motherfucker. I hate when you put me up on the screen like this by myself.
Yeah, I would have to say, bro, I'm just going to go ahead and lick a shot for that one. Mandela confirmed.
Blame it on CERN.
We blame it on.
No, I mean,
Oh,
I wake
man.
up. You know, there's days I'm thinking like I'm not on the same planet that I was on yesterday, or even last year. It's just so much. Everything is like flipped upside down.
Is it Sex and the City or Sex in the City?
Well, is it interview with a vampire or interview with the vampire?
Hey, man.
If it was Febreze with an A, it would fuck me up.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just I don't know.
Now, Oscar Mayer has a song. My baloney has a first name, it's Oscar. My baloney has a last name, it's Meyer. So it's always been that.
Huh.
So it's what is when did Oscar get voted as the mayor? And that's actually the wrong spelling for mayor, but
yeah. Now this one gets me.
it's always been a youth. It never had the quadruple O's. I would have noticed that with my weird OCD, like noticing oddities, like that would have messed with me. The double O's above each other.
No, bro, the double O's is the right one.
No, I am Groot. I'm telling you, blame it on CERN.
CERN is definitely the reason for.
And this
all
isn't
these
me
Mandela
either. This is
effects.
my clone. You're right, totally.
Yeah. Let's see.
I've been cloned.
Let's talk about really quickly this whole situation with the first case of insider trading in crypto's history. What's your take, man? Because it's interesting because the brother of the main suspect actually pled guilty. His brother pled not guilty. So what kind of position does that put the actual person that worked at Coinbase? What position does that put him in? He's pretty much done. I mean, if your brother says he's guilty, I mean, you're guilty. He can't be guilty without you being guilty. Essentially, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's a lot of intricacies that I'm not really familiar with this, but I don't think this is going to be the first that we hear about insider trading because, again, I think that the media is going to be doing what they can to try to make cryptocurrency look bad as much as possible, especially when you're seeing Fed now coming to fruition, the talk of a CBDC in the United States. I even got to look into the idea of Russia and Iran making cryptocurrency legal for cross-border transactions and payments. So I think as much as it's not going to be good for the United States, they're going to try to take, especially under Biden, from the way it seems, they're going to be trying to take a strong anti-cryptocurrency stance, which to me is the best advertisement that we can get.
Really? You think that's good for crypto?
Ultimately, yeah, because again, I have an idea that people are going to lose their faith in the government. So the government's pointing the finger at Bitcoin being the bad guy. That when people start realizing that government and the banks are the bad guys, maybe they'll start realizing that the people that the government and the banks were pointing the finger at is actually the good guys. If and I'm trying to have faith in people.
Yeah, you're better than me. I ain't got no faith in these people out here, man. None.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even want to see your ugly subscribers' faces.
No, you better call in,
like
ladies and gentlemen.
The bloody ugly crew.
Yeah, you better call in, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna piss me off.
I got the ugliest channel, yo.
669-900-6833. Enter that code you see on the screen. Come holler at Rice and Blood. Give us some of your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, if you will. Yeah, man. Speaking of, you were talking about CBDCs and the Fed Now system. I'm actually of the camp, and this is the thesis that I developed. I don't think we will see a CBDC here in the United States, because it would eliminate the banking system, and the banking system is the main parasite or leech on the system.
I mean,
you wouldn't need central banks. You wouldn't
necessarily
No.
need central banks. You wouldn't.
No.
Okay. Look at do you remember the Banking for All Act?
Yeah.
And that basically was going to give everybody a Federal Reserve account.
Yeah.
And then we have the Fed now with the possible launch of a CBDC. So I really feel they are the Federal Reserve is going to do the best they can, and a lot of people in the government to push for the CBDCs because of the controlling factor it gives. It's whether the people are going to fight back or not is going to be the issue. Because ultimately, the rest of the world is going into this system. So if we don't get in this kind of system, we're not going to be participating in the rest of the world, and that doesn't make sense with the dollar being in the position that it's in. If you look, somebody mentioned HP blockchain, which is like, what do you guys feel about ISO 20022? That is an upgrade to the SWIFT system, and there's chosen cryptocurrencies in that. I believe Cardano is actually one of the chosen cryptocurrencies, along with Stellar, XRP, I think IoT, and handful of others. I think Hedera Hashgraph might be in there as well. So
I didn't even know about the list.
Yeah, you
I
can
didn't know
go,
what coins were in there.
Yeah, there's I can send you some information on it. I've been trying to compile.
Oh, that's a bullish. Hey, that's a bullish
on certain
call
coins,
on those coins.
Yeah.
Yes, on those coins, on those particular coins.
Yeah, and then it makes me wonder too if we got the ISO thing going on, which is an upgrade to SWIFT, which is what generally the Fed controls, but it's not theirs. It's like a Switzerland entity.
Is Ethereum in that?
I don't believe so. No,
Is
but
Bitcoin in that?
But I want to say Bitcoin is supposed to be implemented for cross-border payments and remittance. So I think it was. I'm pretty sure they wanted to add information. HP said Algorand was in there too.
That's very
There's a
bullish,
list.
man.
I'll send you the list. I mean, I think BitBoy did a video talking about some of it. He's got like his ISO 20022 portfolio. But when you look at what's going on with the BRIC Nations Bank, them creating their reserve currency, you're looking at Russia, China, CBDCs, you're looking at the ISO, you look at the Fed now, everything is going to a complete digital system. All nations want to be able to control their citizens or subjects, and this gives them that ability. Takes away the privacy. As far as taxation, they can just go ahead and just tax you on the spot. They don't have to wait for you to send money, and it actually serves them to get rid of the banks. So we have a financial collapse. All these little small banks fail. There might be a handful of other banks that work underneath of the central banks, the Federal Reserve, but the Federal Reserve is going to be your bank, your new bank account.
Okay, hold on now. I'm looking at this list, ladies and gents.
Yeah,
and
Kwon,
this list
the other
looks
one.
made up. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is some bullshit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's not the article that I was looking at. So I mean, I'll get you some more information.
Okay, because this list right here. This doesn't.
I'll
look
get
good
you
at
more
all.
information, but the whole idea of this is that they realize the importance of blockchain and distributed ledger technology being utilized in remittance and cross-border payments.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Is nobody trying to call in, or is it not working?
Nah, ain't nobody trying to call in, bro. They don't want to do it live, which is fine. That's fine. Don't do it live. I don't even know if it's gonna work anyway, so it may be like some crazy ass echoing going on. But if you want to call
Yeah, I have
in,
a feeling it
numbers
probably
on the
will.
screen. Numbers on the screen. You can try to call in and talk to us. Yeah. Probably a good reason why you're not calling in. It's probably
Hold
not
down
gonna
the
work.
fort. I'll be
Epic
back
fail.
in just a moment, okay?
Yeah, so this list here, I was really not aware of this ISO list, guys. That's crazy. Let me know if you were aware of this list, if this is the actual official list. Stellar, XLM. We got H-Bar, which is one I'm a big proponent of. IOTA. XDC. Somebody shout out to Marcus. He's a big XDC shiller. Ripple. Oh my god. Come on now. Algorand, Kwon. No Bitcoin. No Litecoin. No Ethereum. Come on now. I can't see this list being. It just smells fishy. It really does, guys. It doesn't look good, but hey, we'll see. We'll see. The next thing we're going to talk about, and we'll wait for Rice to get back, but the next thing we're going to talk about is the Biden framework that was just placed out earlier this week, I think. And it was a follow-up to what they did in March, where they gave like a mandate that agencies start looking into cryptocurrencies and building their own like report on them. So Red River said he'll call in. Okay, thanks for trying this out for us. It may be an epic fail. We shall see. B-Chad said, yep, that's been known for a bit. And let's see if we can admit this caller here. Let's see if we can get him patched in here. 1 second, guys. So
I'm back.
all right, cool. Let's see if we can get this caller to unmute. See if we can get him to talk here. Caller, go ahead and unmute for us, please. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, what's happening?
What's going on with you, brother?
I can't call it. It's T-Will in the chat, bro.
T-Will in the building. Let's look at shop. T-Will. So what's going on, man? What did you want to talk to us tonight about?
I wanted to speak on this. We keep talking about this 32 Ethereum deal.
Okay.
I don't actually think you need 32 Ethereum to stake once you get past a certain point.
You can pull. You'd be able to pull with others.
Let me explain real quick. Now, you're talking about guys like Lido, big establishments like that. Once you have so many thousands of ETH, let's say I got 1,000 ETH, I can start several nodes and then start having people take my slots and pull my ETH back out. I don't have to have all of that ETH. I could build another node, do the same thing over and over and over.
So you're talking about rehypothecation? It sounds like I'm not familiar with that that technique.
Well, you start your own
rocket pool. Only thing you need is 16 ETH to start you a node.
But there's someone else with 16 on the other side to match up with you. Because you have a 32 minimum stake, period. You can't get around that one. But if you have 32 Ethereum, let's say you have 64 Ethereum and you've got your two different nodes, you could sell off if you wanted to, and then keep a percentage of those profits, and then other people would get less of a percentage if they did it themselves, of course. And that's how these pools are working. Because anybody who's doing any of these pools are still going to get less of a percentage versus if you did it yourself. Because
exactly. You have to. It's in the protocol, T-Will, that the 32 ETH is the minimum needed for staking. Now, as Rice just stated, you can join a pool and
we
then
can go together.
We can go together. Yep, we can.
And then we got to trust each other.
Right.
Then a whole lot of other stuff comes into play with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me and you, I think we would go with that. But are you like that with everybody that you has 16 ETH? Can you trust them, with those 16 ETH? Because again, that's minimum 16 grand, even on a low end.
Right. Let us know in the comments, guys, if there was any echoing going on that conversation with T-Will. Because again, this is the first time doing the call in here on StreamYard. So
it seems like it's only when I'm talking, so I just mute myself as soon as I'm done saying something.
People were saying that they were hearing echo as well. So.
But I think it's just from me. Like, I'm the only one echoing. No one else is echoing, which is weird. Makes no sense that I would echo, because it would seem like both of us would echo, because we're both using StreamYard.
Yeah, Red River, is that you?
It is. What is going on, man? Star 6, huh?
Yeah, man.
Unmute myself. Yeah. How's it going?
Good, man. Great to have you join the show, calling in.
I'm glad somebody else called in before
we didn't want to see your ugly face. Come on, baby blood.
I know, right? I was gonna say the bloody ugly #2 right here. Right.
Oh, so what's going on, bro?
No, this is off topic, but I wanted to know if either of y'all saw Kanye West 15-minute interview on CNBC on Friday around 2:30 something.
No, I did not. What did he talk about?
With who? I can't hear him. I don't know if you muted him.
But of course, they didn't air the whole thing because he got very conspiratorial. But what they showed was,
Can you repeat yourself?
The video by saying a cannot live in someone else's castle, which was, I mean, line of the day for sure. But yeah, he's pulling out his credentials in fashion, and he's going his own way. He kind of low key criticizes Jordan for selling out to Phil Knight and Nike, by the way.
Yeah, I heard about the shout out, say hi, baby blood. Say hi to the camera. Say hi to everyone. Say I'm half naked, but I'm here.
It's like quadrupled in size.
I know, right? I did hear about the whole Gap thing, bro. I did hear about that. So I didn't know he did an interview on CNBC though.
I kind of bootlegged it myself, but it didn't come out very clean just because it was such a huge file, right? 15 minutes. But yeah, I don't know what's like a site that people could go. What are the sites that people go and post stuff on? Like Mastodon, maybe? It might be on there. I don't know. So.
Yeah.
But anyways, sure. I really enjoy Rice being on your show. I think he's one of your top guests for sure.
Absolutely, and I got to get him on more often for sure. We got to do more collaborations. We were actually going to start a show together at one point in the past.
It still may happen.
And it may still happen. We just got to fine-tune some things. So,
but we got to definitely do more of these collabs.
How's the crypto TV going, by the way? Like, you have Trek on doing some shows sometimes.
Yeah, Trek comes on. He does some shows. He's great, man. I've got a few episodes queued up for him to go out maybe this week or tomorrow possibly. But that's going great. I mean, he's been the one that's been most consistent. I know people have their own thing going on, so I haven't had a lot of input or uploads from the other participants or correspondents, but it's been going fine, man. I just wanted to get another viewpoint, I just wanted to get more people on, and that's it. That's cool though.
Well, yeah, that's why you're the only crypto show that I watch, right? But that's what I really like about your show and you is that you, even if you disagree with somebody, you can have a conversation. I love that.
You gotta have that Discord. You gotta have that conversation with people, man. That's why I love having people call in and challenge my thesis, and that helps me too, right? So
I can't challenge you on anything on crypto because I don't know jack. So I'm trying to be family friendly. But Kanye did say something else. I'll tweet it at you. How about that? I don't want to get on YouTube. Okay, I'll tweet it at you.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I don't know so what were the details on why he's leaving Gap? What happened? I just heard that he was.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. That's an excellent question. It is basically because, details on Adidas, on why he's about to leave Adidas was more a part of the interview. But with Gap, he feels like he's on the outside, right? He feels like he's being used, and that's the main thing.
So I did hear about the Adidas one. The Adidas one I did hear about. He is definitely, they were going behind his back, making new designs and doing all types of stuff. And that was interesting. And they tried to buy this guy out for what was it, 500 million? Or no, $1 billion. No, they tried to buy him out for $1 billion, right? And he turns around and says, "My next my next check from you guys is $500 million. Like my residuals for next year is $500 million. Why would I take $1 billion when I'm getting $500 million a year from you guys?" So
okay, that's the business line that he said that people should probably focus on. He said, "I have been valued on my cash flow. It's time for me and my my team or whatever to be valued on our equity. He said that, and I was just like, damn, mic drop.
You know, Kanye suffers from some mental health issues. So whenever I see headlines like this, I don't know if it's Kanye West or West Kanye.
We all got
He was incredibly poised.
Yeah, we do.
But let me tell you, at the very end, he kind of went off the rails just a little bit. Actually, quite a lot.
You see what I'm saying? So those types of episodes invalidates his very valid arguments that many times he has.
Let me tell you what he said, though. He was talking to the blonde, Sarah Eisen, and she was kind of coming at him. And he basically, I'm not going to get it verbatim, but it was basically, I'm not going to answer questions, or I'm not going to listen to people who have less money than me. That's not verbatim, but it's
my
essentially that.
Oh my, that sounds like Kanye. That sounds like Kanye. Good
But no,
God
it was
almighty.
great, man. It was fire. The whole thing was fire. It really was.
You should put some blonde in
Anyway,
your
yeah,
hair,
thanks for taking my call. It sounds like you got another caller.
I do have another one coming in. Red River, appreciate you calling in. It looks like we got the
All
line.
right.
I don't think
everybody in the chat. Have a good one later.
Yeah.
I don't think the callers. I want to find out from this last caller if he heard me, because I don't think the callers hear me, and I think that's why I'm echoing. So I'm just gonna mute.
So when you want to talk, of course, unmute, and I think they should be able.
Well, it was T. Will said he can't hear me. On the call. So somehow it's just linked in, I think, with your audio.
Okay.
Which is fine. I mean, I'll just sit here and.
Yeah, is this
You can
default?
translate for me.
Yes, this is yo. What's going on, man? Man, it's been a minute. I've been.
Where you been, bro? They were just asking.
I've been working, man.
Okay.
Working, man. Yeah, I let y'all know. Man, I've been.
No.
Man, I'm kind of waiting now. I just wanted to give my perspective of what's going on in the market. I've been turned bullish, man, which is crazy right now.
Oh, you turned bullish in the cryptos, huh?
I'm bullish right now. And I think it's just looking at the technicals, fundamentally everything's fucked. And I think that's going to be the case for the next, who the hell knows? It just looks, just looks terrible down the road. But I think we'll get a rally. I don't know how strong it will be. Typically, when you get this type of momentum change, you get a retrace rally. And using your fibs from the high to the low, you'll be looking like 36 to 50K range. Sounds crazy, but looking at the long-term structure, we're losing momentum to the downside. That's and if they come out and say they higher the interest rates higher than people expected, I think everything just tumbles because nobody's going to price that in. That would be an event that nobody is expecting. But I think if they even keep it at 75, I think we're going to head higher. I'm thinking maybe at least a 30 to test the breakout to the bearish side before seeing lower prices. But technically right now, things look like they have bottomed. A lot of basically every chart I'm looking at. And if you look at the PTC all pairs, they look like they're breaking out downtrends for like EOS is broken out a 4-year downtrend.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right, and we're long both Ethereum and Bitcoin right now. We just went long on Ethereum over the weekend, so yeah, I mean it's possible. It's possible, bro. $30,000 Bitcoin. That's what I'm saying. That's not bad. I can see a $30,000 Bitcoin in the interim, in the short run.
Yeah, it's like a short run, probably for 3 to 6 months. Maybe just till January. I don't know. You don't know the time scale. It just seems like everything, technically wise, has shifted bullish, which is you read the news or you watch the news or whatever, which I don't get a chance to do, but just everything that's going on with the Fed hikes, you'd be like, there's no way. But looking at the chart, looking at the technicals right now, and everybody's bearish. That's another thing. Like the sentiment is so terrible.
That is something that does that does concern me, that everybody is bearish. Like, yeah, that's true.
And everybody's expecting 10K or 14K or lower, and that was my 12 to 14K was my target.
When Richard Hart calls it, he's Jesus Christ, man. You got to listen to him and bow down.
Blood. After the next rate hike takes place, I know the caller can't hear me, but after the next
he should be able to hear you now. Can you hear me?
I can hear right?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah, I can hear
good. After the next rate hike takes place, there's not going to be another rate hike until early November. So just depending on how it is and what the Fed does, whether we get 75, 50 basis points, a full basis point, it really depends. But I think we can see some more upward action potentially in October because there is no rate hike after what we're going to see next week.
Yeah, that's very true.
Especially between the FOMC and CPI.
I never thought about that. That's very true. Default.
But then November is going to be bloody as fuck.
I mean, that is definitely possible, but I think this might be a prolonged rally. But looking at the technicals, like I said, look for crypto specifically. When you look at the stock market, I'm not as optimistic. It looks, it's looking maybe short-term rally for the stocks, whatever. But there is some catalyst right now. With I believe there's like Lebanon or something like that. One of these countries, somebody shared something with me where Lebanon, they're having a banking crisis. Maybe people realize you can buy a crypto to get your money outside of their system. It might be an alternative because that's what you need for, a rally like that. You're in a bear market, been in a bear market for the last 10 months. And you need a catalyst, you need something, you need a buying pressure. So where that buying pressure is going to come from, I don't know. But just looking at the technicals,
the dollar weakening.
The dollar is weakening.
It's not weakening yet. And I mean, it still looks like there could be some more upside, unfortunately. I mean, it could go down, go up.
It kind of played out a little bit.
But right now, the dollar is strong. Everything is correlated to that. So when the dollar is down, commodities are up, which includes cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, you guys got to fuck it. You guys got to forgive me for some of the technical echo difficulties we're having. I'm just hashing it out. First time doing the call-ins on StreamYard, so please bear with me with this one. But Rice, you make a very good point about the Federal Reserve interest rate hikes stopping until November, right?
It's like November 2nd and 3rd, I think.
Yeah.
Right before the midterm elections were supposed to take place. So that's where I think, because I mean, I was thinking for a while October could be very, very bearish, but because normally it's October, but I don't think that's. I mean, it could be towards the end.
We're in a recession.
Yeah, we're in a recession. Go ahead.
No, we're not. The government says we're not. They changed the definition. Remember?
They're playing semantics because of the midterms and stuff like that.
Yep.
But there's going to be a point where they can't even raise rates anymore because we're already in to raise rates in a recession is I don't think they ever done that. I know they've done it before.
But the technical aspect of it, raising interest rates, somehow it decreases employment. It's supposed to increase unemployment, and the increase in unemployment is supposed to help. Which sounds like bullshit, but it's what they say.
It's supposed to decrease demand. They're trying to decrease demand in the economy, so they increase unemployment. Yeah, that's the goal because they really don't have any other tools to curb inflation except make people have no money, basically have no job, so they don't have no money to pay for goods and services. And so that's the goal. I understand all that, but I don't know if they ever have raised rates during a recession. which they technically
No,
are
well,
now.
technically,
They-
wasn't what
they raised
happened
it.
after the Volcker recession.
But he caused that. He did that willingly.
But they raised interest rates. They got to like 20% interest rates.
Yeah, they can't do that now. They like
No. That's why I was saying earlier. I don't know if you missed it. Nick Carter was on the Pompiano show and mentioned some really smart stuff. That just basically was like
that was a whole different dynamic. The United States had like a surplus then. They were
but it fits in clearly in play because what they were saying is that the United States at this point, that the Fed cannot raise interest rates 5%. If they were to go 5%, the government would default on its debt.
Well, they would default by inflating the currency.
Well, deflating currency also reduces the amount of debt that's owed, and it also reduces the amount of capital that people have available to them. It's like just win-win situation.
If they default, that means your gold, silver, crypto, sell everything you have, sell your body, go into those safety assets, and also risk alternative currencies, because that default means you're going to have to debase your currency. I don't know if that would even play out.
Well, our currency still have the debate. That's what inflation is.
Yeah, I know, but even with that being said, right now, like it's strengthened right now, we have the reserve currency. So I don't know how that would play out. I don't think a world reserve currency could hyperinflate, honestly, because there's always going to be a demand, because everything has to be paid in dollars.
But the dollar,
I don't know how that will work out.
It's losing its status. I mean, as the world trade is taking place without dollars, there's oil being sold without dollars. So that's taking place.
But
whether another fiat currency takes over, I don't think it's going to be the position. I've mentioned many times, if we get to that point with a world reserve currency, it'll be the IMF's SDR made up of a basket of different fiats.
Stick tight, default. I'm going to get this other caller in real quick. Caller, unmute for us, please.
Hey, Crypto Blood, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Hey, I consider you OG, because I got into cryptos in 2017. And thanks to the gentleman on the show, man, I respect your station. I respect what you got going on. And the number speaks for itself. And I just want I want to suggest and I want to encourage you to keep pushing and keep staying legit, because you bring it just how it is. You bring it just like that. You don't mix it up. You don't dilute nothing. So I appreciate you for that.
All right. Hey, man, thank you for the kind words. Really appreciate your support, man. What did you have to, all of we talked about today, what's your opinion on things?
I don't want to sound crazy, but I just want to be the voice of the few people that used to believe a lot in cryptos and are kind of falling off the wagon. I kind of feel like crypto is it's a big scam right now. It's been like that since the days of the what's this guy's name? Bitfinex, and there's another BitMEX, and now you have all these other websites popping up here and there and just scamming people off their money, hard-earned money. Look at what happened on Friday. The stock market just went down the drain. And you see people saying, oh, crypto is an edge, is an edge, is an edge. I would think that if indices is going down 1,200 points in one day, Bitcoin should be flying through the roof, like hitting $70,000, $100,000. But no, the reverse is the case. We are still tethered.
Yes, we are tethered, but you have to also think about this point. And this is crazy, because you don't think about it until it's hindsight. So we've been in a pretty much monetary expansionary period since Bitcoin since its inception. Right, 2009 is when it came out. 08 crisis. We've been printing since 08 crisis.
Yeah, we always had QE.
We've always had QE with Bitcoin
happening.
Right. So
and the correlation to the stock market, and the market cap is small, and it's very easily manipulated when you have lots of money, which doesn't include people like us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you think that concept of whoever has the control of 51% can still run the show on Bitcoin and cryptos?
Well, we have to separate Bitcoin and cryptos, because 51% attack really only is, I think, valid for a proof of work blockchain consensus model. Am I right? I think that's the case.
Yeah, because I've never heard of a 51% attack on something that was proof of stake.
Nah.
I mean, there's vulnerabilities.
There's vulnerabilities, right. But yeah, you can't do a 51% attack on a proof of stake chain, which is what most chains nowadays are, some variant of proof of stake.
And the cost of trying to do a 51% attack on Bitcoin is not feasible even for nations. And unless you just
one last question that I have.
Sure.
Do you think, now they're talking about the Fed now, do you ever think there's a chance of the government coming out with a Fed coin and just trying to relegate Bitcoin and having people switch over from Bitcoin to the Fed coin? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, that's a CBDC.
So I'll let Rice. Yeah, I'll let Rice speak on that one first.
And just in case you missed the conversation, we talked a little bit about this earlier, and I think it was really valid. There's a lot of things I don't think we could summarize, so I would definitely encourage you to rewatch. But ultimately, CBDCs are what people are considering a Fed coin. Because at first I wasn't sure if a Fed coin would be a CBDC, but they're basically one and of the same. It's just using different verbiage. And they may not try to use the verbiage of a CBDC when they create their Fed coin. They may not even use Fed coin in the process. But they're definitely going to be going in that direction. Because, I mean, in order for them to maintain the illusion of this system, in order for them to have the control of being able to manipulate the system, the only way to do that is to go digital, because the end is here in the fashion that we have it. In order to keep the game going just a little longer, going digital allows for that much more manipulation. I mean, we've seen where they've taken out like the M2 money supply of that has been discontinued from your equations of looking at all the different factors that indicate inflation, changing definitions. But ultimately, the governments want to have a centralized issued coin, whether it's called a FedNow, Fed coin, CBDC, because ultimately it just gives them complete control of the system. And all signs point to yes.
I want to go back to your that point, though, in my question I posed to you. Wouldn't that kill the banking industry in the United States, which is probably one of the bigger industries, maybe right below the government agencies and all the jobs they employ, all the people they employ?
I feel like it's part of the plan, though, man. I mean, again, why would they have ever introduced the Banking for All Act for everybody to have Federal Reserve accounts? Because ultimately, I feel as if they're trying to consolidate the banking. They don't want there to be all these different banking institutions. They would like to have complete control of these institutions and have smaller numbers or just offices of their own. So I really feel like part of the crash that we're going to be experiencing, part of the issues is going to be people losing faith in the whole entire banking system. But when it comes down to it, and everybody's given a FedNow account or a Federal Reserve account, you're not going to be able to opt out, whether you like it or not. You're not going to be able to opt out, because if you want to have a bank account, that's going to be the only way you can have a bank account in the United States. And it's going to be attached to your social security number and all of your government information. And there's really no way to avoid it.
Shout out to everyone who's still tuning in. Again, I'm working through the technicals of trying to get these callers to sync up with StreamYard. So what I've been having to do is mute. I've got a mute button that mutes my other software. But when I hit that, of course, you can hear Rice with no echo. But in order for Rice or the caller to hear Rice, I have to unmute Rice when he's talking to them,
which causes an echo.
So
that's why I've been trying. That's why I've been trying to keep myself minimal. But I feel sometimes I have to add something in, and then then it echoes like crazy. So
yeah. So what I'm gonna have callers have to do, they're gonna have to have their YouTube stream of this show. You're gonna have to use that as your monitor to listen to us and chime in when you can, because you won't be able to hear Rice through phone number. So we'll get it together somehow. We'll get it together. But I appreciate all the callers so far. Again, I'm glad we did get some come in. That's for sure. Man, is there anything else you want to touch on before we kind of wrap up here, bro?
Well, okay. I
that,
mean,
you know,
there's been some.
We didn't talk about this. I got one. I'm sorry to cut you off. I do have one last thing that I want to talk to you about, Rice, and get your opinion on, and that is the El Salvadorian situation and this whole Bitcoin volcano bond. And you know, I'm just calling a spade, bro. Like at this point, not saying the future doesn't look better for El Salvador and its Bitcoin experiment, but at this point, bro, it doesn't look like it panned out all that well.
No, I mean, no, it doesn't. And I mean, it sounded really good in theory.
It did.
And had they made it legal and not put, their own sovereign money into like the wealth of the nation into cryptocurrency, which is a volatile asset, which didn't make sense.
Right.
That was the failure of the problem.
Right.
Legalizing cryptocurrency wouldn't have been. But now I still have to, because, I talk about manipulation.
Okay.
And then I mentioned IMF and the SDR. Well, I mean, what El Salvador did was really bucking up against the IMF,
the SDR, IMF,
and that whole system. So I have to commend them for it, man. I haven't looked at numbers to see how this is actually affecting like the everyday person, but looking at whether or not crypto adoption has been effective, it doesn't look like it's been effective. It looked like the wallets that were created and utilized were to get that free airdrop of like $30 worth of Bitcoin, and then there was really no additional money being added to these wallets or use of the wallets. So in that regards, I feel like it was a failed experiment. I commend them for what they were doing, but I feel like they should have went at this with a lot better of a strategy. If I was going to take my reserves out of US dollars for my nation, I would do the most smartest, prudent, safest thing, and that would be put it in gold. And then I would legalize Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and allow for the transactions and see how that takes place, and allow for infrastructure growth and things to take place while you're still using traditional things to maintain what you currently have. Because had they kept their money in something like gold versus Bitcoin and legalized Bitcoin to be utilized, then they wouldn't be in quite of a bad situation when it comes to how much the nation is down on their investment. That wasn't a smart move at all. Yeah. And I think they were trying
dollar cost average in at these levels just to try to bring that price down, like what MicroStrategy is attempting to do.
I mean, I always say a dollar cost strategy is a winning strategy, but I can't necessarily say that it's a winning strategy if you're putting all of your nation's reserves into Bitcoin. And to go back about kind of like what you were asking me, which really ties around, is a lot of the negative sentiment being put on crypto. So cryptocurrency and blockchain are just technologies, and they're inherently not good or bad or anything like that. They're just technologies. And these technologies can be utilized by we the people to get rid of the control that the banks and that governments are trying to impose upon us and completely encapsulate us to the point that we're in this, and that we're captured by the system. We're in a system of debt. Most people, this is something I've been pondering on a lot lately. And I had this conversation with Madi Greenspan from Quantum Economics. We were talking about the end of the Shemitah year.
Wow. Yeah.
So the Shemitah sabbatical year for the Jewish calendar ends the 26th of September.
What was a guy named Khan? Something Khan. He was real big years ago on the Shemitah thing.
I'm not sure, but the Shemitah a lot of times falls in downward actions of markets. They take place every 7 years. And I'm not saying every 7 years that this repeats itself, but it's more times than not has repeated itself, where you see downward actions during a Shemitah year in markets, and then within 2 months or so of the ending of a Shemitah, the bottom of a market. And this translates back to 2014, 2015, 2007, 2018, or 2007, 2008, 2000, and 2001. He also mentioned that Black Friday was in that time period as well. So it's interesting to look into like those kind of aspects when you're looking at overall pictures of things. But the overall thing that I really want to like push with this whole idea is that this is a social experiment that gives us an opportunity to get away from these control mechanisms, these debt-based systems. And to go back with the thing that I found very fascinating regarding debt is, from a spiritual perspective, the majority of people from a religious standpoint are either Christian, Muslim, or Jewish. And they all have the same God that they worship, and a lot of the same text. And a lot of that same text talks about not using debt, not using usury against your brother, not charging interest against your brother. But we all have succumbed to this system. And what I've learned about a lot of these Muslim countries that are very pro Bitcoin, because they're not debt based.
Right. They're like it's like a bearer bond.
So
Bitcoin
yes,
is basically a bearer bond.
Whereas something like the dollar has no value and is based on debt. The only thing that continues to give the dollar any staying power is like the borrowing of money from the future into now, which is why we have this exorbitant amount of debt that we can't pay. So these technologies are not bad.
This is the guy I'm talking about. Jonathan Kahn, real strange looking individual, but years back he got a lot of traction from, you know, his whole year of the Shemitah, and
you spelled it wrong though, because it's not Shemitah.
Shemitah, right?
It's
the harbinger.
It's SHM, but it's literally a sabbatical year. So during a Shemitah year or sabbatical year, if you were like you just don't labor the land, it's rest. If you think about it, like from a biblical perspective, the 7-day week, on the seventh day God rested. That's the same concept, but in a yearly perspective. So every 7 years is supposed to be a year of rest. And then every 7 Shemitahs, which is about every 49, 50 years, are supposed to be a Jubilee, which is a forgiveness of debts.
Yeah.
But again, you know, I mean, like how many Christian churches are preaching against using these debt-based systems and usury-based systems and not participating in it? How many Jewish synagogues are preaching this? I think every single Muslim mosque is teaching this, and Muslims are doing their best to not do that. Now, I'm not talking pro or negative any spirituality or religion, but I'm saying we are not supposed to be living in a world of debt. That is evil, and that is where we're at, and that is the problem, and that's where cryptocurrency gives us that way out.
Greg Hunter.
So I'm still bullish, as much as I hate where crypto's at. Craig Hunter, no.
Greg Hunter. You don't remember Greg Hunter?
Greg Hunter. The name sounds familiar.
He used to be I don't know if he's still on YouTube. I don't think he is. I think he may have gotten kicked off. But he used to do a lot of economic.
Okay. I mean, when you look
content.
into, I was on Around the Blockchain yesterday with Maren Altman, and she's big into astrology. And then even circling back around with Monty Greenspan with his company, Quantum Economics, he has a bunch of different people on the team that offer different perspectives. And Maren Altman is on the Quantum Economics team for her astrology. And so people take astrology and different cycles into effect because throughout history they've proven themselves, and that even kind of validates a lot of the things from the fourth turning. Because if you do look at the Shemitah years and you look at financial markets at the end of Shemitah years, a lot of times you will see this downward action that I'm talking about, which would make sense that we would see, to me, November being very bloody. And then I think the Federal Reserve would have to reverse course at that point.
Yeah, interesting. So let me see here. So you don't remember this guy right here, U.S. Watchdog?
Yeah, but I think he's
USA
still on. I think
Watchdog?
he's still on though, because I think that's the guy that Gregory Manarino had a problem with for quite some time. Like they used to be buds, and then he stopped working with him. But now that I'm looking up the website or the YouTube channel, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I don't think he's on YouTube anymore. I think he may have been banned.
But to me, he was a paid shill. He got paid to put out messages. I don't think that he put out any valid information that came from his heart, and he was like trying to wake people up on anything. I feel like he was pushing an agenda of one side that he was because that was one of the reasons why Manarino wanted to separate himself. You know, you see a lot of people in the economic element in YouTube that just want to, and you see this in crypto too, that just want to push hopium constantly,
Right.
and not be realistic in things. You know, like the crypto channels that are saying that no, Bitcoin's going up tomorrow. You know, and just constantly have this narrative
all the way down from 69,000 to 17.5.
Yeah, no, it's going back up.
No, so to Crypto Nana's point, he quit CNN. Remember, I don't know if you recall his whole story. He used to be an anchor on CNN and got corrupt. He quit, did his own thing. Yeah, he used to be on CNN. Now he's
yeah, I think that if you have any sort of moral values and you really care about the world and you start being involved in like those media companies, you start seeing how it acts. So I mean, yeah, maybe Greg Hunter left CNN or whatever for good purposes, but I mean, most people have a price, unfortunately. Now, at the same time, though, I don't follow him enough to really be able to really. I should just shut my mouth.
Yeah, I think I don't think he's good one. Yeah, just go ahead and shut it up, bro, because I don't think that's the truth. I don't know. I stopped watching him because he went offline, but then he's not a great interviewer. Like, he'll ask a question, and if you don't answer the question the way he wants you to answer it, he'll continue to push the narrative on the interviewee.
I would only do that if somebody didn't actually answer the question. I mean,
but they would answer the question just not the way he wanted it to.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, it was a little strange.
Well, some interviewers let themselves. I mean, even that's what makes a really good interviewer is when you could take yourself out of the equation. You know, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons why I never really resonated with him. You know, I really try to resonate with people who try to take themselves out of the equation as much. I mean, what I've been doing with my interviews a lot of times is I'll take myself out for a portion, and then I'll throw myself in. So that way, you know, you have a really level-headed conversation, but then I can also add my thoughts and my viewpoints on it as well. And like you said,
here was my issue. And Crypto Nana, you've watched him for a long time. Red River, I think you've watched him for a long time. Here, you know, I gotta be me, ladies and gents. The thing I began over years of watching Greg Rice, the thing I started to notice is
Greg Rice.
This guy never had a black person.
No, you called him Greg Rice.
No, I'm saying Greg. Like. The thing I noticed about Greg, pause, Rice,
comma,
is
Rice.
that, comma, Rice, he never had a black person on his show.
Well, he could have been like me. He could have been albino.
No,
he doesn't.
It was just albino. Weird, bro. Like, and maybe I'm wrong. Crypto Nana helped me out.
But how many black economists and stuff are there really out there?
He didn't just do economy. He was more like freedom fighter, like, you know,
White power fighter.
I guess.
White flower.
But it was just weird. That's my two satoshis on that. I'm sitting up there. I've been watching him for like years. I'm like, this dude's never had a black person on his show.
Well, Kitco News. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, have they had one?
Now that I think about it.
Stansberry News.
I don't think so.
What about Kiyosaki?
Kiyosaki's been on my show, so
right, but that don't count. Have you been on his show? Okay, so any brothers been on Kiyosaki's show?
That's a good question. Shit, you
Was Reggie on there ever?
No.
I mean,
He
Reggie
peeling
used
back
to be
some
on channels
onions,
back in the
bro.
day, but Reggie was like the last Banyan to me.
He was like the token black dude. Shout out to Reggie.
Token Middleton.
Duh,
Reggie
Reggie Token Middleton, bro. Has Reggie been
Gary Token?
I don't think he's been on. I don't think he's been on.
You don't get it.
that's
VERY Token. Token.
That's very funny. That's very funny. Yeah, that was the only thing, man. I just, as a black person, that's the type of stuff we pick up on, and it's just like, okay. You don't have any freedom fighters that are chocolate
Everybody's
faces.
questioning.
Okay.
I haven't gotten an answer. Like, where are these black
Greg Hunter
economists?
is still on. I probably only watched a handful of the shows.
Yourself, Mike from Rethinking the Dollar.
I love Mike. Shout out to Mike. He's a
and I love Mike.
Detroiter.
I love Mike.
Detroiter.
But yeah,
he does a lot of stuff with the guy over in Britain.
I'm at a loss.
Manic. What's the guy name that he does? He does a lot of shows with him. The guy over in Great Britain.
It's an older gentleman. I forget the name of their show, but it's like the names of their first names. Mike and something show.
Yep. Dr. Boyce Watkins. What about him?
Is he black?
He's never been. Yeah, I know Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Is he into economics?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying these individuals don't exist, but again, like now that we're having a conversation, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, Kit Konu, Stansberry.
The real question is, what does this have to do with Reggie's patent? Like, that's honestly the only question we should ever have.
It's like I appreciate
Charles Wu. Who is Charles Wu? I don't know who Charles Wu is. I don't really care for Boyce Watkins that much. Like, to me, like, I'm for my people, right? I'm for black people.
Who is Dr.
empowering themselves and everything, but I think you can go too far, and he like isolates himself. Like, only black people, we only this, only that, no integration or whatnot. So it's just like I think you can go too far in any direction, right? You can swing too far.
Yeah, no, because
like, Kiko swung way too far by not having any diversity on their show.
Except for his own diversity. Like, he's
the Asian dude.
I'm not sure if he's Asian or I think they're in Canada. He could be part Inuit.
In Canada.
He could be like part Eskimo. That may not be.
Could be. Be.
I thought about that. So yeah, and I mean, if the hosts themselves are racially not white, then I guess it's not inclusive to just white people. But yeah, I've been thinking now that I'm thinking about it. There's not very many
doesn't
famous.
Look at Asians as non-white, even though they're categorized as non-white. Asians are white. Think about it.
No, Asian. I mean, if we're gonna get we're gonna get
They
canceled.
are, bro.
We're gonna get canceled. Okay, they're yellow.
Whatever.
I'm white. You're black.
They're not.
They're Native
yellow,
Americans or American Indians are red. Okay, let's just break it back down 100 years ago.
Earn Your Leisure is a black focus or black run financial. I've never watched them, but I've heard about them.
And when you want to speak about Token, and I don't mean this negatively though, but the author, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, the author of Bitcoin and Black America.
Oh yeah, my man, Bitcoin Zay.
He became Token for people.
Shout out to
shows.
Zay. For sure, he was a token black person for crypto, because it kind of all the stars aligned for him. In my opinion, this is just my opinion.
Timing.
Yeah. Black Lives Matter.
And he's a smart dude. I love him to death.
No.
And I wish he didn't get pigeonholed in this capacity. Of course, but it's happened.
But what I'm saying is, Black Lives Matter happened. So we have been knowing about his book forever. You know, I was supporting his book for years prior to.
Hey, Cap, put HP's newest comment up on screen.
I'm Asian. I'm definitely not white. Just saying, I'm not a racist.
No, all Asians love rice, man.
Listen, it's nothing. See,
they are
racist. It's
They're
nothing
not,
against Asians. Asians are cool. I F with Asians. The issue is, I'm talking about what white America views Asians as. They don't really view them as in the category as a black person.
They're closer in complexion.
Yes.
Like we are the light, you are the dark, and there's
exactly.
There's nothing in between. There's no red or yellow.
So what is Trader 2 talking about? Gerald Celente is a boss. Is that a GOAT? Or what does that mean?
I think it's a GOAT. He's the greatest of all time.
Oh. So I've had Gerald Celente on once.
Yeah, I've had him on. I interviewed him one time in person. I love him to death. I think he's
funny, bro.
Lately, though, I think with everything that's happening, I think he's starting to lose it a little bit. But
yeah, and I think it's been in the last 2 years, bro. I literally interviewed him a year prior to.
He still has a lot to say
Phoenix
within losing it, but I think at this point, the straw has broke the camel's back with him. He's like everything he's been talking about to him has already come to fruition. He's already living a couple years more forward than we are because of his trend forward thinking, and I think he's already sees the end.
Anything with Click said, didn't Celente get called out to be a racist?
Not that I know of. I mean, now he used to go. I think he used to go on like Oprah Winfrey. I think he used to go on like a bunch of like mainstream shows, and then like he started speaking out against the establishment, and then started getting blackballed. So I mean,
I ran into Celente down. I ran into Celente down in Phoenix when I went to visit Max and Stacy, right? And I walk up to him, I'm like, "Hey, Gerald, what's going on?" And he didn't know who I was.
Was he scared of you? Some black dude came up to him?
No, I mean, it wasn't like
he's
that.
From New York,
I didn't get that vibe. But I was just like, damn, I've had you on my show, but I guess it's just once. You don't remember. But I'm like probably the only black dude that's had you on a show, on a show. But okay.
He's old. He might be senile.
Yeah, it was probably that. It's just his age catching up with him.
I mean, I think I was fortunate enough to be able to get the interview that I did, and I've reached out to him several times to do an interview after, and
I can't get it.
No, he's not, and he's friends with Lynette Zhang, and I've spoken with Lynette like privately about talking to him, but I haven't still gotten like, because I wanted to do an in-person interview. The interview I did with him was in Miami. It was at the same time as the Miami Crypto Expo, which was like middle of October, and Mark Moss had a conference going on with the market disruptors. So George Gammon was there briefly. Like I got to meet George Gammon in person, which was cool. Now I didn't realize that dude was like, that dude's huge as far as like, yeah, he's skinny as hell, like skinny but tall, like very tall, like 6'4", 6'5".
Mike has done some collab stuff with him for back a few years ago. I remember RTD. My guy Jim Willie. Now I love Jim.
And some people recently have been telling me I need to get him on.
I stopped having him on because he got me a strike.
You told me. Well, that's where you need to be branching out beyond YouTube and do your Jim Willie interviews on Odyssey or somewhere else.
I'm gonna hit Jim up, man. I'll do an exclusive Odyssey.
And then you could take a safe clip, and then do like a little intro and be like, hey, watch the full video here. This is a clip. This is safe for YouTube, because I mean that's what I've had to do. There's times that I will play a game of chess with YouTube and be very careful, like what I've been doing with you in this conversation. And then there's times that I will invite people on for conversations, and I'm like, don't even worry about what you say. Now I know I was cussing, and it wasn't very family friendly as far as what I was saying, but as far as like the YouTube algorithm and freaking out the YouTube overlords, I was being very careful with that.
Yeah.
But I like to have free-flowing conversations, and that's actually something that I was going to, I'm glad that this kind of came up like this, because that was one of the things I was going to invite you for, is I want to have a conversation with you, uncensored, that has to do with current events, that we don't have to worry about what we're saying and using code language. It won't go on YouTube. I'll take a clip for it or something like that, but speak freely about.
Let me finish.
Because I also want to get into you with spirituality and stuff.
Absolutely. Let me finish my thought about the whole Bitcoin and Black America thing. So the timing came where his book was already out for like a year or some change, right? Then Black Lives Matters, the Floyd stuff happened, right?
Yeah, he put it out right at the beginning of 2020, into 2019.
19, I think.
Right at the very end.
Maybe 18, 19, 18.
I don't think it
19.
was that long. I would have lingered over for a while, but
So Black Lives Matters happened. Then all the virtue signaling, the white people want to find them a black person to latch on to.
So all the black community, all the crypto community latched on to Zay because
what happened is your boy, CEO of Twitter, latched on.
Okay.
And said he read the
Dorsey?
book and Dorsey, yeah.
Okay.
And he kind of got caught up in not caught up, but he
There's
linked
voice.
up with Dorsey.
Yeah, but then he
Dorsey.
started making appearances like on major news networks.
After that,
right?
After Jack Dorsey endorsed him, or somewhere around there. Maybe it was Pomp. No, I don't think Pomp was first because he went on Pomp too. That's another guy that Pomp has. I don't see Pomp interviewing too many chocolate faces either.
But again, how many? Okay, so how many chocolate faces are
it's
there?
enough, bro.
No,
there are enough.
Well, then list all the chocolate faces in crypto, my friend.
I don't know. Off the top
List
of my
them.
head.
List them.
I'm the one. I'm the only one.
Take out Reggie. Take out yourself, and take.
Why
out,
hasn't Reggie been on there?
And
Reggie's more qualified.
I'm just saying, take out Reggie yourself, and then take out the BitMEX guy.
Bitcoin Zay?
No, BitMEX guy. What's his name?
Arthur Hayes.
Yeah, and then Zay. Take out Arthur Hayes, Zay, and yourself. That's 4 people. Take out the 4 of you.
God.
And
No,
tell me
man.
the rest.
There are some black people in blockchain.
Well, tell me, viewers.
Bro.
Tell me, all viewers. I mentioned all 4 of the black people in crypto.
There are some Trayvon James. Hell no. So
he's a goat scammer.
Goat scammer. There you go, dude. TikTok.
And look, he was living in North Carolina. Like he's actually born. He says he was raised.
Oh yeah, Ian Bellini.
Okay, I guess he counts. 5.
I'm mad you had to say to pause and think
2.
about if they counted. He doesn't count. I mean, he's black, but he's
he's like a converter.
Yeah, he's not.
He moved to Texas.
I'm gonna move to Texas. What that mean?
Are you really moving to Texas? I'll tell you, you're moving to Miami.
Both. Why not both? I got to get the hell up out of these northern states. But
you try.
Hey man, it's been real, man. I really appreciate you coming on. This was great.
I enjoyed
conversation. As
time always flies, and we generally never talk about the articles, but
right.
It's like I don't think like when we do a show, we shouldn't even prepare for anything.
That's my OCD. I gotta be prepared. Just
I know
in case.
it's
just in case.
I don't think we have a wealth of things to talk about, though. I don't think there's nothing that we couldn't talk about.
True. Well, guys, get over to RiceTVx on YouTube. Check out Rice's channel, over 30,000 subscribers.
There's that Shemitah video.
He's grinding. He's doing his thing.
Look, I even have some Hebrew in that thumbnail with the.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Maddie, haven't talked to him in a while. I got to get him back on the show. I like Maddie.
I like Maddie too. When I found out Maddie smoked weed, I was like, I like him that much more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had no clue, man. I was like hanging out in Miami, and like I think it was either I was smoking with some people, and he wanted to hit it, or he lit up and I hit it, and I was like.
What?
It just really changed my perspective about him. And then the second time he booked himself to come on my show, he put his full name, which is Matisse Yahoo.
Okay.
And I love the name Matisse Yahoo. I like the
why.
It's a you should actually be familiar with this because I think Matisse Yahoo is like one of the most successful reggae artists in the history of music, and I thought all black people liked reggae music.
No, very, very false.
Just like bad watermelon and chicken.
Just like everyone thinks that when I'm on that's a good one. Just like people think Rice when I'm on around the blockchain, everyone's like, man, you smoking a blunt? You smoking a blunt?
Oh yeah, yeah. You like, and I wish you were smoking a blunt.
I don't smoke weed, ladies and gentlemen. So when you see Rice and I out in Miami or wherever, you can pass the blunt to Rice. I'm not participating.
I'll definitely hit it. Definitely 100%. That was one of the things that really surprised me about you, and that's one. Yeah. So that's what I thought was kind of cool because like when I first met Marty, like interviewed him and had conversations with him on the internet and seen him and stuff, I wouldn't have like took him as one of those guys. But he's not like a very observant Jew, and
Right.
he's really cool. And but at
Yeah.
the same time, I think like when he comes on my show, he feels really comfortable. So like, I was asking him like, well, how's everything going? And, you know, welcome to the show. And he's like, and I'm like, his answer was just like, what's up? And I'm like, that is not the answer I was expecting from you, because it doesn't really help me when I'm doing an interview and somebody just responds with, what's up?
Right.
It's like, then you're putting me on the spot to respond really quickly.
Exactly. I hate dead silence, man. That just like is that's why I got to be prepared just in case. Like, see how you had to step away from the camera? I was ready. I had something queued up, ready to go. You got to be prepared, man.
I
You got to
appreciate
be
that.
ready. So what is it saying? You got to stay ready so you don't have to be ready. I think that's it.
I like that. Stay ready so you don't have to be ready.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, check out RiceTVx on YouTube and on Twitter, RiceTVx. Check my man out. Any last words, Rice?
Nah, man, I just enjoyed this. We got to do this a little bit more frequently.
Yes, we do.
I obviously I was telling you there was a lot of issues. I mean, with summertime, but summertime is pretty much over, and I'm ready to do these things a little bit more frequently. So let's do this, man.
All right, there you go.
And let's bring some other people into the fold. You know, let's do another one with 10 pound, because I always enjoy 10 pound too.
Hey, man, you the one saying you don't want nobody on.
I just wanted our first time reconvening with just to be me and you, man. I love you enough that I just want to focus on you.
All right, there we go. There we
just
go.
want to focus on you, Mr. Blood.
Little brother love, brotherly love there.
Little one-on-one.
It's your boy Crypto Blood.
There's a time and a place for a 3 or 4 something.
Oh God, we're cutting out on that one. It's your boy Crypto Blood. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Episode
Talking
86.
to you, Amina.
in the books. We out of here, people. Holla.
Stack my coin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Yeah, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Since I was born, been stacking my coin. These niggas pop, my money keep growing.
Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Okay. Ready?
Fucking thing sucks! We'll do it live.
Okay.